Good evening everyone and welcome back to Piccadilly. Now I'm starting to turn my attention to New Mill Central station building. This is one of the last parts of the station that needs to be done. Now looking at the photographs of the real thing, it's not going to be as easy as it first appeared. There's lots of different facets and aspects to the building which are not necessarily on a straightforward modern building. I mean, this building was opened in 1870 something, I believe, or around that time. And so there are lots of wrought iron work, there's some stone brick work and other things, because I think the station master used to live there, hence the housey bit on the side. Now to do this, I first of all made one with the intended space and it didn't look right. It just looked ridiculous. So I've decided to make some slight alterations to the platform. Panning you in. There. I've had to take the platform back to the full width, and obviously I didn't have the platform in that full width. That part there that I flattened off is scenery. Now it does look atrocious at the moment. It won't do in the long run, obviously, but I have mocked up a basic building. It is basic, so please understand that, but it will help me to build the real thing. Okay, and there it is. So there's a card mock-up of what the whole thing is going to look like. And I'm glad I've done that, because that's going to really help me to get the proper building sorted. Now, showing you it from what I've done, I've obviously taken some time to draw out each of these doors and windows, and there are quite a lot of doors and windows down the side on the concourse part. I think there were 6 doors, so to get this in I've had to lose at least one door and a couple, 2 or 3 windows, I think. So what I'm doing here is a representation of the whole thing, as is the whole layout. This part would be the station master's house, I believe, and there's a dormer window coming up there. So I don't know what it is now, but I believe that the station master used to live on site. I don't know whether that was true or not, I really don't know. But it's also, building the mock-up has enabled me to see that the extension for the layout is probably just a tad wide, so I'm going to narrow it down by a couple, 2 or 3 mil. I'm going to lower this wall down to about that height, starting at this height, and then scale it right down probably to about there. And I don't think there are any windows on this end. It's hard to see in the pictures because they've all got the wall in the way. So I'm not going to put any in at the end. All I'm going to do is keep those ones on the front. I'm not even going to put any windows on the back. There probably would be on the real thing, but for the model's sake, that's going to be up against the edge of the baseboard. This part down here. Down there. So I'm really not going to be, I want people to see the model from this zone and from over the top. I don't want to be people to see the model from this side, if you understand where I'm coming from, because this is going to be, there's going to be trees at the back there. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to recreate this on the computer with a brick pattern, and then that will help me to get the building started off. All the doors and windows will be recessed. As far as I'm aware, I'm going to try and put in window frames and door frames. Not totally sure how I'm going to do that yet, but I'll certainly have a good think about it. Anyway, I'm not going to show you the work on the computer, except till it's printed off anyway, and I'll show you it then. And so the next time you see me, we'll be at the workbench. All right, thanks. See you soon. Right, welcome back. Now, I spent quite a bit of time last night producing this. This is going to be the front. Now, don't worry, it will be more sculpted than that, and the windows will be let in as it normally is, and there will be acrylic in the, or acetate in the windows, so I can have a light on in the back. These marks here are to represent the position of the rafters, or the roof canopy supports, I mean. But I've printed this off as a basic guide, okay? Now, just in case I need any others, I've printed off other parts as well. So I've got some more doors here, windows there, more doors, the roller shutter just there, etc, etc, etc. And also there's a part of the brickwork here which is paler than the other, to go in that panel just there, just at the end there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make the building out of this 2mm grey board, and I've printed off 3 sheets of brick paper. So my first job is to take the whole of the back and make that in one long piece. Okay. Right, so as you can see, that's the back piece cut out now. Now, what you may notice is that this extension piece here, I decided was a little bit wide on the model, and the yard part needed to be a tad wider. Now, it's always going to be a little bit cramped, because I haven't got the room really. If I'd got 3 foot for the station, then, you know, I could make it to scale, but unfortunately I haven't. And the whole model, including Piccadilly Station, as I've said right from the outset, is a representation, a compromise, if you like. So there has to be compromises on this building too. So, like I said, I've cut this extension piece back and made the garden wall, or the yard wall, a little bit wider. So my next job now is to cut out the pieces with the roof shape on, and I'm only going to cut out, say, 3 or 4 of those for this section, and then probably 2 for this section at the back here for the house, and obviously another 2 for this part here. Okay. Right, I've just discovered something. I'm going to be using this 2mm grey board, and that basically means there's going to be 2mm here and 2mm here. So ultimately, anything that goes on the end is going to be sandwiched between the 2 outside pieces. So the overall distance here is 35mm. So with 2mm either side, that means the internal distance is going to be 31mm. So to make life easy for myself, I found this strip, which is just kicking about. So I'm going to cut that down to 31mm wide, and then make these supports, if you like. And I shall, like I said before, mount them at different places along the building. All right. Right, so I've gone ahead now and cut the height, or cut each of the pieces. Now I haven't done the roof pitch, if you like. So these 3 pieces are for the house, these are for the main station concourse, and these 2 pieces here are for the extension on the end. Okay, I hope that's clear. But I've also previously made this little template. Now you'll notice each of these I've drawn a centre line down the middle, and I've also drawn a centre line down there as well. So all I need to do is line that up like that, take it to the top, and just draw 2 lines on and cut them out. Right, so there we go. All the pieces now have a pitched roof on. So my next job is to take the back and mount some paper on there, because obviously that's going to be seen. Right, so I've gone ahead and covered the visible parts. These are going to be on show. These two pieces are obviously going to be either side of the house, and you will see both sides. Okay, so my next job, I've got the back piece done, and I'm ready now to start gluing some of the pieces together. Okay, so that's going to go just there like that, and so on and so on and so on. All right. I'll just show you a little bit. I'm not going to show you massive amounts of this because obviously it's quite straightforward. Right, so I've now cut out the front and also the print off that I did on the computer. So obviously that needs to be stuck there like that. And I've also made a bit of a boo-boo, but I've cut that bit off of this part here, so I need to glue another little bit on, which shouldn't be difficult. All right, but my first job is to get that bit glued on. So back to the trusty Pritt stick, putting on a reasonable amount, not just a token gesture. And I'm going to take a piece of tissue and give it a proper rub over. Make sure all the edges are down. Okay, now it doesn't matter completely if it's not perfect, because it will be modified obviously. Well, I'm just going to cut a piece. In fact, I'll use a piece of that. Then that can stick. Blimey, that was hard. Now, but as you can see, all those windows are now cut out. I mean, these window frames here are so fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dab a blob of super glue on them. Just leave them for a short time. Just take a piece of paper just to make sure it's flowing. Yes, it is. And I'm literally just going to put it on. It'll soak in. I want those to harden up all the way around those thin, fine areas. So it's all of the house, like that, both sides. You can see that. And just to put a bit on the back as well, just to make sure it stiffens up. Like that. I think the others are all quite thick, and there's at least 3 to 4 millimeters between each of those. So my only concern was those ones. That one just, no, it's hardened off already. Yeah. So it will be a case of just scraping out any excess. I don't know whether you can make this out, but this type of window frame, this stone window frame, they're sort of chamfered, and that's what I want to do with each and every single one of these doorways and the window frames. These really fine ones sort of come to a point, sort of like that, really. I hope you can see what I'm saying there. So that's partly why I needed to put the glue on those, to stiffen them all up. But the way I'm going to do that is I'll do one over this side. I'm literally just using the scalpel. Again, this is the fresh blade I put in a few minutes ago. And just scrape away down one side and then back to the other. So it goes right to the corner. Take a bit more off than that. Not too much. But try and get an even cut, if you like. And obviously if the blade is resisting, you need to just change the blade. You do need to keep this blade really sharp. I mean, it probably didn't help that I just dabbed it in the glue, did it? But never mind.
it's all right for the time being. Okay, not quite there yet. This might take a little bit of trial and error. The things we do for our art, eh? And I think it is a case of doing it by eye, really. There's no magic formula with this. And then again, I keep looking through the socket, if you like, the hole, and just make sure that it is still the right shape. Looking on the back of it, is that the right shape? Not quite. There's a little bit of a lump just there. So take that off, and that needs to be straightened off just down that side too. Now hopefully you can see that. There. That's focusing. But anyway, I'm going to do that with each of those. Actually, there's a little tail bit in there, isn't there? I'm going to do that with each of those, and I'll come back to you shortly. Right, so there we are. So all the chamfers are now done. It was incredibly difficult to do that. I'm not going to lie. So what I've had to do to get them all straight and level as well, I've just put a little strip of brickwork top and bottom to make sure that's pretty much straight now. It's not perfect, but I think because it's going to be under a canopy as well, you're not going to see an awful lot of it. So I am going to go ahead and put some acetate behind this. To create the window frames, I'm going to use sticky labels like I've done in the past, and then possibly for the cross beams it's a little bit of 1mm plastic card so that sticks out. I was going to use it to go down both sides of the window frames, but in all honesty it's going to close the windows up so much you're barely going to have, well, it'd be more of a slit than a proper window, so I need to keep those fairly fine. Alright, there's just to show you my original. Oops. Oh dear, they're all falling all over the place. Just like that. There's the original. So you can see the difference between them. Oh, you know what I mean. Okay. Right, so like I said, I'm going to start putting some acetate behind. You can see one little bit just there. Stick sticky labels around the edge of each window so you can only just see it, and then hopefully the 1mm plastic card across to make the 2 bars across the whole lot. Alright, okay, welcome back. As you can see, I've gone ahead and put all the windows in now and the glazing bars. I decided in the end to put stickers going across that way, and you'll probably notice I put the 1mm bar going across the back purely so that there was no light bleed, that's all. Still got to do this little bit here, which won't take very long at all. But, you know, I mean, having said that, I mean, chances are I'm going to put in an upper floor here and have an LED coming to just the downstairs. So the upstairs won't be lit, I don't think. And there's going to be certain parts of this I'm going to try and section off and leave the lights off, just to be a little bit different, not trying to illuminate the whole building. Still got to put glazing above the doors in certain places. This one here is a big roller door, and this one I'm going to leave as just a standard size door. Slightly smaller than that one, but that's how it is. Like I said before, when I cut all the side of the windows, it was very difficult to cut, so I've put more vertical brick paper in just to tidy it all up a little bit. So I'm hoping that looks all right, and I think certainly from a distance I think it would look absolutely fine. What I do need to do is put window sills in and lintels just above, which are not going to be very wide, probably around about 2mm, if that, and just to sort of emphasize that's going to go right across. Okay, so I'm going to get on with that now, and I'll come back to you when those lintels and doors are done. Well, there we are so far. So as you can see, I've now gone ahead and put in the doors. There's a roller door just there with door frames. All windows are in, including the window at the top here. I haven't put that door in there yet. The reason for that is because it's a bit of a recessed door. There's a bit of a porch in there, so I need to build the porch, but there will be a doorway in there. The front is not glued to the main building yet, but I have put these supports in. They will be separate rooms, so this one will be lit, and perhaps that one will be lit, and maybe one of these rooms downstairs will be lit. I'm not sure which one yet, maybe one of those to the left or right. The upstairs will remain in darkness, I think, on this particular model. But there we go. So that's pretty much it for this video. I am going to show you it on the layout, just bear with. Right, there it is in position. So you can see, I think it's starting to look the part there. Take it to the other end. Yeah, it's still clearly loads to do, but I don't want to rush it. And I think there's plenty in this video to see for what there is. Okay, so just going to leave you a shot of the 68 pulling out the parcels train. It's been in there for quite a long time. I think you deserve to see it go. But anyway, I'll say bye for now, and I'll catch you really soon. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please do like, subscribe and share. And don't forget, you're always welcome to leave a comment as well. Thanks ever so much. See you later.